In Powell River, tapping the groundswell, movies and pottery. This is Go! You're watching Go Island on Shaw TV's Channel 4. We are here today in Powell River. I'm Mary Ruth Harris. Right now we are at Vancouver Island University to learn all about tapping the groundswell. Now, for the month of February, I will be wearing pink to help raise awareness about the anti-bullying campaign coming up on Wednesday, February 24th, which is Pink Shirt Day, an annual national campaign for anti-bullying awareness. In addition to learning about tapping the groundswell, we are going to learn all about the movies coming up at the Film Fest here in Powell River, starting on February 17th, as well as how to be a potter. Last week, I learned how to work with fat paint in Campbell River, and the week before that, I was in the Comox Valley learning how to paint a delightful picture, which was birch with flowers. It was quite pretty, actually. But first, before we do any of that, we are going to head over to Comox Valley, where Mark Hanley brings us an update on the epidemic that is killing little birds. Have a look. So please clean out your bird feeders. I'm Mary Ruth Harris, and now we are at the very impressive offices of Tapping the Groundswell with John Young here in Powell River. John, what is the thrust of this project?
It's a 7-month project that at the end of it will provide some thinking and very practical recommendations to Powell River City Council and to regional government and to the people of Powell River about how we might want to address some significant issues in our community. Many things fall under the category of social planning and social policy, things from child poverty, like things like child poverty or affordable housing or reconciliation with First Nations.
Okay.
So we'll work on these issues. We'll recommend to Council a very practical path forward based on what we hear from Powell Riverites over the next several months.
And the high point in the next 6 months will be the conference.
We'll hold a conference at Powell River's Recreation Complex on April 1st and 2nd. It's a day and a half, half a day Friday and a full day on Saturday. Space will be limited, but we certainly encourage as many people as come as possible, and they can go to our website at tappingthegroundswell.ca to find out more about the conference and more about the work that we're doing in April 1st and 2nd at the Recreation Complex.
And when do you hope to have the report ready for Council?
The report needs to be to Council by mid-June. Our project ends June 17th officially, so hopefully we'll have something done by then. We might extend a little bit. We'll have a draft, not really a draft, we'll have a discussion paper that'll go to the conference that people can think about and talk about some of the issues we know we're going to be discussing, and that will sort of seed the conversation and help to guide us forward in the remaining time left in the project until June. Okay, excellent. Well, please keep us up to date on all of the progress, and we will have representation at that conference. Great. It sounds really interesting. Great, thanks very much.
And you're right, Powell River definitely needs this sort of report because they don't have anybody on staff that can actually provide that.
Not at this time, right? Yeah. So yeah, it's a great opportunity to do some important work.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, and now we're heading over to Campbell River, where there is a new writer in residence at the Haig Brown House. I'm Mary Ruth Harris. You're watching Shaw TV's Channel 4. This is Go, and we are in Powell River. We have moved now to the Patricia Theatre, where preparations are underway for the film festival. So far, we've learned about tapping the groundswell, and coming up right after this break, one of the filmmakers. Go is on location today in Powell River. We started out at Vancouver Island University, and now we are inside the concession at the Patricia Theatre, where they are under preparation for the upcoming film festival starting February 17th. Joining me, one of the esteemed filmmakers, Claudia Medina. Now, what is it that you hope the audience walks away with after they've seen it?
Well, what I found and what everybody found as the process unfolded was that this project, which is essentially the creation of an art piece, also became a place of conversation and a place of very important conversation. And so the film is called Carving Reconciliation. because I don't think anyone was aware of how much it would become such a place of connection.
Right.
Ivan is he's an artist, he's a teacher, and he's quite a brave person in that he puts himself out there in terms of the artwork being a place to actually address difficult topics, and of course the reconciliation being how we as a community face and take responsibility for the wrongs of the past, and what the impacts of residential school have been.
Of course.
And so when he made a decision to put a brick in the middle of the pole, that was from the residential school his mother had attended in Alert Bay. It's
so moving.
Yeah, and it also kind of lent itself another place of really physically understanding to some degree, like having that brick there was a presence, but also the way that he had placed it in the middle and saying that it's an interruption and it's not something that's embedded there.
Exactly.
It's something that interrupted a flow and that we're continuing. And just seeing how people responded to that, how a lot of kids who came by, there were classes that came by, and just generally the passers-by would start to have a conversation about it. And you know, we talk a lot about reconciliation, but it's almost it can be an abstract notion sometimes, and we have recommendations that have been put out, but it really in terms of like the day-to-day community level, personal level, this really kind of highlighted that it's about being able to talk about it and have those conversations.
Well, congratulations being involved in such a moving project, and really enjoy the Film Fest, and I hope that the conversation just grows exponentially from that point.
Yeah, that's and I think there's so many great films in this festival, and that they all have so much potential to open up discussions.
Now we are at Patricia Theatre, where they are getting ready for the Powell River Film Fest from the 17th to the 21st of February. Please get your tickets. Thank you to Claudia Medina for chatting with us. And now we are going to take a short break, but when we come back, I'm getting my hands dirty. Welcome back. We are now in Cranberry, as the locals pronounce it. I'm Mary Ruth Harris. You're watching Go on Shaw TV's Channel 4. And as promised, I'm getting my hands dirty. Oh, this feels so cool. We are at the studio of Delight, and right after this sweet spot from Kate Brown, we're going to have a chat about how to make a pot. This is so cool. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's fun, isn't it?
Well, I have to admit, I've never tried water buffalo cheese, but as a cheese lover, I'm going to have to pick some up at this week's farmer's market. Now, we have invaded Delight. Thank you so much for letting us invade your studio.
Oh, thanks for coming.
Oh, this is awesome. This is so much fun. So, how many years have you been doing this?
I've been potting now back at it for about 8 years. I started in high school and basically gave it up for a good 20 years. And then 8 years ago I started again. So,
cool.
Yeah.
Now, I understand you teach classes as well.
I do some
One-on-ones,
one-on-one classes, yeah.
Awesome.
Basically, I start you from the ground up. So if we start with wedging, then, you know, a little while later we go to the wheel and I teach centering and all the techniques for making a piece. Your
Cool.
first piece.
And John's going to be doing a feature story on Delight coming up in the next month, a little artist feature. But today we're just going to get a taste of what it's like to play in mud and clay. So what do I do first? If I want this to spread out to be a bit of a little pot, what do I do first?
Basically, you're just going to put your fingers in the center, and I usually ask people to use the two fingers. Yeah, and you can feel the clay move.
Oh,
so
cool.
if you wrap this hand around the piece and your fingers in, and then gently pull it towards you. Pull it towards you.
Oh.
And you'll feel the clay move.
Look at that.
And the piece isn't centered, of course. So
No, it's kind of
basically-
lopsided.
Yeah.
Leaning Tower of Pisa.
That's
here.
okay. That's common for a newbie. But yeah, basically you just pull it towards you until, you know, it gets to where most people completely pull it apart, so I would be surprised if you don't do that. But yeah, you just keep gently pulling it towards you, and that opens it up.
Well, look at that. I'm so impressed that I even got this far. Look at that. And it's so much fun to get your hands wet and just play in the mud. Now, how do you keep it centered?
Centering happens right in the very beginning, which is a step that you skipped, basically. Right after you attach the ball of clay to the wheel is when you center it. And centering is not something you can learn in a few minutes. It's something that
takes a long time.
It even took Mary a long time to get that one. Not as long as most people,
cool.
mind you.
Look at that. That's kind of cool. I like that.
There you go.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah. Most pieces will look a little ragged like that in the beginning, and that's totally fine. You know, it's just getting over and there is somewhat of a fear of actually sitting at the wheel, and because you often make too much of an expectation of yourself, and you sit down to the wheel thinking you're going to throw a piece that is.
Oh, I like that. Look at that. It's got a nice little lip on it.
Is going to be a production piece.
Yeah.
But basically, you're just going to throw a piece that you're going to be happy with. So.
All right. Cool. All right. Well, while I'm working on my pot cup creation here, you get to watch a little bit of rapid fire in Campbell River. Have a look. I love getting to know those players. It's so much fun to do it that way. Now, we are here at Earth Inspiration Studio with Dee. What should I be doing next?
Next, you're going to do what we call in the pottery business as pull up the wall, which means that you're going to put your fingers on the inside and the outside of the piece and basically pull the wall up. And like I said, most amateurs, they pull it right apart. So don't be surprised if you're going to do that. So basically, it's the same amount of pressure on both sides, inside and outside, and you just want to bring the clay up. The clay has a mind of its own. It wants to do its own thing.
It does. Look at that.
It's really interesting. Really interesting. But you know what? The whole thing is to have fun at it.
Yes, and this is so much fun. Oh my! This is just hysterical. I absolutely love this. If I'm telling you, so if you would like to learn more about pottery, it is really fun to get your hand. It's so therapeutic to just play in the mud. Oh my goodness! Very therapeutic.
Yes.
Very therapeutic, and you can actually make something really cool that you love that is very unique just for you. So you can be in touch with Dee, and there are other places here in Powell River where you can learn to do pottery creations. And of course, the same in Campbell River and Comox Valley. Oh, look at that. I could just do a mud bath.
Yeah, it's another thing that feels good. Yeah.
It feels really good. I'm going to slow that down. Oh, I like the way the way it's turning out. It's going.
Very nice.
Oh,
very nice.
Squirrely. You have been watching Go, and thank you so much for joining us on this very educational journey. We started learning all about tapping the groundswell, a project that's happening over the next 6 months around social conscience development here in Powell River. It's going to be really interesting, and it's all being done for the benefit of the city. Conference coming up April 1st and 2nd. Then we checked out the film festival. Thank you so much, Claudia Medina, for spending time with us and chatting with us about your movie. It's really going to be an interesting collection of films at the film festival, so please get your tickets as soon as you possibly can, February 17th to the 21st. And thank you, Dee, for letting us come into your studio and play.
My pleasure.
I've really enjoyed this, and I'm telling you, if you need something to do with your hands, this is delightful. I really love the feeling and the sensation of the mud and the water, and it's just so grounding, right? It's so grounding.
Yeah. I'm very blessed to do what I do for a living.
It's just fabulous. And watch for an upcoming feature on Dee and her studio with John McKenzie in the coming month. So we are going to continue to play here, and you get to go away. But have a fabulous week, and we will see you soon.